police can help you. There's a lunatic there in the bay, and a car just went against smashed into it, and he's going to cause an accident. So obviously the guy he's looking for is not there. And seriously, you should get here now.
Can you line the dip, please?
Okay, which area is that?
In Mustang, down the dip. Down the please. I just pissed off in the car.
And any chemicals or hazards involved, like petrol? Listen. Hello? Hello?
No.
Today is Tuesday the 14th September 2004 and the time is 18:06. Have you ever done a video interview before? No. All I want you to do for me today is tell me the truth and tell me what happened. Not what you've been told, not what anybody else has told you, whatever. Just what you know and what you saw. Tell me what happened in as much detail as you can.
From what?
Right from the beginning.
He ended up getting to the light band pub at around 11:30 it was. Myself, Stephen, Craig. There was loads of people, many people who I didn't know, and then like at the back of the car I just see my mate, so I just walk over and stood with my mates. And it was kicking off and like there was two men arguing. And then they ended up fighting. Noticed the phone like it fell out of one of the men's pocket who was fighting. And after they stopped fighting, the man was like saying who's got my phone. From there we just walked off. Me, Stephen, Craig, and he stood on the corner of the road. And then we was just talking there. And that's when I noticed the car was coming down. They'd already been hit before I could say anything. It hit Stephen and it hit Craig as well.
Another Saturday night in Manchester. Two teenagers have been gravely injured in a hit and run. In the early hours, Detective Superintendent Steve Hayward arrives at the scene.
Morning. How's it going? Superintendent Hayward, how are you, mate?
Oh, sir.
You know exactly what happened?
I'll come point it out, sir, as much as I can. Not far from where this bend in the pavement is where the first lad has been treated. About maybe 10-15 metres further down, a little bit into the road where the second lad's been treated.
Okay.
And a few items of clothing near the further down point.
Right.
Halfway down the road, I think that's where one of the shoes were found.
The investigating officer, the accident investigation, was making reference to a tyre mark going up the curve. From his plan, it was described on this curve here.
If that time out does turn out to be the border, there's absolutely no reason that you need to go on the pavement, is there?
Unless they were taking avoiding action from something or somebody.
Don't give them a defence.
And it was. I went in to see him though. He had a cut to his face and that. But he didn't seem as though anything was wrong with him. And he took him to theatre. I knew as soon as I went in that room, they were going to tell me he'd died.
It was just chaos.
Michael, driver Ganson. Just to confirm, obviously, that you don't have to say anything with me. I'm your defence if you do not mention or question something which you later rely in court. And anything that you do say will become in evidence. Do you understand that? Yeah.
My girlfriend picked me up from the museum pub on Mustang Lane. That's Michelle. And we've gone for a little drive and that, and then we've gone from there to the next pub in Mars Platin. Stayed there, had a drink or two, and then Michelle wanted to go home. So on the way home, I've asked her to drop me off at the Light Barn pub. But there was like there was a party going on there. It was like people there who had been having trouble with through the week. There was a few of them, like who was with and that, you know what I mean, there's a few kids. Just come over, throwing his weight about and that, and they've ended up having a fight. They've all been like crowding round, and obviously was like kind of scared at the time because any of them could have done, you know, they could have done anything in it. Got off. Obviously, for my safety in case something bad could have happened. I jumped in this Volkswagen Bora that was parked at the side of the pub on the street. But as I've been getting off, I've been trying to phone like my friends, my brothers and that to ask them to come and meet me here to try and sort this trouble out. I've been looking through my mirror, I've seen them coming off the car park. I mean, and when I've done a left at the lights, you can't see them, you know what I mean, unless they come that. But I've just been looking through the rear view mirror, and I was on my phone as well at the same, you know, trying to phone my friend. It was just like a big light shot. I've not even seen no one in front of me. Until I've heard a bang. I've carried on still, getting fear, not knowing what's going to happen and things. I was just scared. Just can't.
He was interviewed and he admits being the driver. He spoke about feeling threatened, was afraid, jumping in his car, and the explanation for the collision he gives us, he was on his telephone, so he was distracted. He was looking in his rear view mirror, so he was distracted because he thought people were going to chase him. And he ran into this group accidentally. I don't believe him. I still think it was a deliberate act. What I'm trying to get my head around is to come up with a meaningful motive as to why it's happened. What's caused Ganson from being involved in a fight at the pub to get in his car and then target this group?
You're charged with the following offences. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention now something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand that before I read the charges? Okay. First charge is that at the 11th of September 2004, you murdered Craig Rennie. The second charge again is that on the 11th of September 2004, attempted to murder Stephen Prince.
This was never meant to be this. Never.
When police...
What it's done. The Crown's case is the manoeuvre. So, is the manoeuvre of a sufficient nature to suggest it was deliberate?
Oh, this is it, isn't it? Ooh, this is just not how you imagine it, is it? This is the benefit of coming to the scene, because this is not how you imagine it at all.
For me, it's whether the layout of this road and the account that's provided, is it reconcilable, and what evidence does it lend in terms of assessing an intent? Is it like a deliberate manoeuvre, or does it simply not?
Yeah.
We see if you look up, Kim, like you said.
It's just a straight line, isn't it?
It's straight line.
If he veered off, as he says he veered off, then he would have come almost in a straight line. I veered off and I ended up in a, and I hit these people, and looking at this road and the layout and the way he would come, then that appears on the face of this to be feasible. We've got to build in what we see here and the experts' evidence with the witnesses who were here on the night to decide, can we prove that what happened was a deliberate act on his part, or is his contention in his interview that this was an accident, okay, may well have been caused by dangerous driving on his part if he was using his telephone, but is this dangerous driving that's led to the unfortunate death of somebody who was on the roadside? And that's what we've got to balance. So, what I need to do now is go away and look at the statements, read the statements, and then make a decision. And if we can't prove the murder, we've got to be realistic. I did start to wonder whether we might have the right charge or not. my own view of this case is that we will need to speak in some detail to the accident investigator to probe further in relation to the expert evidence that we can obtain from him about how he believes the accident happened.
If there was an offer of causing death by dangerous driving from the defence, I wouldn't be happy to take a plea. I think the facts fulfil a murder charge and a murder conviction. I don't want to go to Stephen and Craig's parents and tell them that I've accepted a lesser plea to causing death by dangerous driving. This is a murder, and they should probably be convicted of a count of murder.
Right. Saturday night, you went out with some friends. You've been to a number of places where you had something to drink, but you weren't drunk.
I was drunk.
Do you remember that you were drunk?
Yeah, I was drunk.
Are you now telling us that because you were drunk and driving, that might explain?
If I wasn't drunk, I would have obviously seen people in the middle of the road. I'd have been more alert than I was on that night.
You might have decided to frighten them like you did Mr. Bowen.
No, that wasn't the case.
How do you know?
There's no reason for me to run two 16-year-old boys over.
In interview, you said, yeah, when I was getting off, I got chased to the car. I shot off because I was scared. I knew that they would try following me in that. No part of that is correct.
Yeah.
You didn't speed off. There were no guys chasing you to your car. The account of using your mobile phone is also untrue.
Obviously the phone wasn't there, but I don't remember losing it during the fight.
During the interview with the police, are you telling us that you honestly believed that you had the mobile phone with you in the car?
Yeah.
Was it that you thought this group had taken your mobile phone?
No, that wasn't the case.
But a group of young people would have been visible from a car going along Kenyon Lane.
I didn't see no one in the way of the road.
You didn't brake?
No, because I didn't see him.
You didn't have a clue who you'd hit. Why didn't you stop?
It's my instinct.
To run away?
No, not to run away, but I've just carried on. And that's...
So you say it was a completely innocent accident?
Yeah.
I think there was some debate in his team as to whether he would give evidence or not. Having heard him, I'm not surprised there was some debate. I think his evidence is probably about the worst evidence I've heard from a defendant in 23 years. I thought he was shocking, frankly. It was a hopeless account, really. In the end, it didn't even stick to the account he'd given to the police, simply said that he couldn't explain what had happened and what had gone on. Accepted that much of what he said was a complete pack of lies earlier. All sorts of things which we thought were in dispute obviously weren't. So he hasn't done himself any favours at all. In terms of the sentence, obviously it's a life sentence. The minimum recommendation is 14 years. That's now pretty much set by Parliament, the minimum recommended period. So he will not be cheering the fact that he's got a 14-year minimum recommendation. He has a pretty uncertain future now.
Sentenced him to the 14-year tariff. That's his prerogative. I knew from the outset, or I believed from the outset, that this was a deliberate act. Ganson's a dangerous man who's now off the streets of Manchester. He's a man who uses a vehicle as a weapon, and Manchester will be a safer place for that sentence.
I think he was hoping to continue the fight later on that night. Probably he was maybe to recruit people to help him in the fight, and but he didn't have his phone, the phone he needs, and he was completely ticked off, to put it mildly, by this group who he thought had finished his phone. And he just drove at them. I just don't think he'd give a monkey's. I don't think he cared less. In the same way as 2 or 3 years ago, he just didn't care less.
what he was doing. He didn't care less than that. There are people out there who behave in a way that you and I would regard as unbelievable. Well, he's one of them.